Before we get started with today's podcast, we'd like to ask returning listeners to leave us a rating or review on your favorite podcast platform, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really enjoy it, share a link to this podcast with friends or family who would enjoy hearing our weekly discussions about basketball and basketball culture. Now, on to the show.
Yeah, isn't it amazing when Michigan can keep this game to a 19-foot, 9-inch game inside that three-point line? It's all there. Nice move by Steve Fisher here. Turn it into the 19-9 game.
Welcome to the 19-9 podcast. We're starting a new series today called 19-9 School Spirit. We're starting with a big one, LSU. We'll be discussing the upcoming releases from 19-9 related to the LSU Tigers. This is the first in the series of podcasts on teams and schools associated with the 19-9 releases. We're going to go behind the design and provide loyal customers and fans with hardwood history behind the apparel. We believe that basketball clothing just looks cool, but basketball is about being part of a community and culture. Part of any culture is knowing the storied history. So we're going to start with what we call the rundown. I'll hit up Barnett to talk a little bit about this, to know what was behind picking the teams and the designs that went into these releases. So we're going to start with LSU 84, and you can introduce Breivogel too.
Yeah, man. I'm muted. God, Mike, already freezing me out. Jeez,
I'm prepared is what I'm doing.
Yeah, so this has been a long time coming, right? We've had this idea in the back of our minds for forever. And for the people out there that don't know, we just recently went full time with 19-9. And in doing so, we were able to get our designer on full time, and that is Mr. Matthew Breivogel.
What's going on?
Well, what's your official title? Because I got some blowback. What did I call you?
19-9's photographer.
Photographer.
Well, you got to step corrected here now, Meyer.
Designer does sound better.
Yeah, art director. 19-9,
art director.
But I do a little bit of everything.
You do.
Yeah.
Currently videographer.
Sure.
A little bit of everything.
A little photography.
So, but this is
podcast.
This is not Matt's first appearance on the podcast. We had our hotel rendezvous.
Oh, that's right.
At the end of the New York trip.
Man, that making history there. That was wild. Right?
I need to go back and listen to, because we did the one with Aaron. You did the one with Aaron before we left in his kitchen.
Yeah,
and then we did a series of them when we were in New York, and then it was just me and Bravo were the last men standing of our crew, and then we did like a recap.
Flying home during a weird time in the nation's history.
Yeah, man. Then we flew home.
Yeah.
How many steps did we get in that day, that last day in New York, though?
15,000, maybe, something crazy like that. Maybe more.
It might have been more than that. We had a good time, though. So, yeah, what's up? We're going to talk some LSU, man.
So, yeah, let's just run through. So, you got these different teams that you picked out, and I'm going to start with the 86 Final Four shorts, and we've got them in here, too, so it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, man.
We're going to try. We'll see if we actually get this up on YouTube, but we are recording some video, so something new for us, too.
Well, you haven't seen them yet.
I know. I haven't even seen them yet. I know.
There they are, sir.
And I was super pumped about this design, and you can tell people why. I was that dunking tiger is I'm all about that.
Yeah, so I
like an animal with a basketball
for
action.
Sure. If you follow 19-9 or know anything about us or look at our designs, anytime we can get a mascot with a basketball in his hand, that's like right up our alley.
I picked him out of the Pistol Pete Sports Illustrated issue even last week.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. You did find that thing.
I got hired officially.
Where do you think that?
By the way, I'm still waiting for my paycheck.
Yeah, so are we. Where do you think that poster is that you found in that Sports Illustrated?
Where
do you think that
I
thing
hope it's
is
still
right now?
I hope it's still hanging in the athletic offices somewhere.
Man, I'd love to have my hands on that.
Yeah, you should call them.
I bet it's in a storage locker somewhere.
Probably.
It looks like a legitimate painting.
Next like somebody did it, like one of one.
Yeah. It's next to Glenn Robinson's Player of the Year trophy.
I can't wait till Bravo gets into painting down here and starts painting some one of ones for us. Yeah, so no, LSU is
why 86?
Well, let me talk a little bit about LSU just in first. Like, we're super, super pumped to get LSU. Big thing for us was getting into the SEC. And so LSU is our first SEC school, and I think it's a great one to start with because they have a sneaky good history when you go back. So you're going back through the likes of Bob Pettit, Pistol Pete, the Dale Brown era, obviously Shaq, Chris Jackson, who eventually becomes Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. You get the Tyrus Thomas, Big Baby Davis, the Final Four teams. You get Ben Simmons, as you know, recently. So like it's a wild
LSU sneaky. Like
I know.
We talked about Blue Bloods. They're kind of sneaky with their like best players ever. I know they don't have maybe the team success that you might picture, but as far as like individual players, they've got some unbelievable.
Like if you
talent.
put together an all-time starting five from LSU,
probably take it over anybody.
It's up there. It is up there.
Why have we not done that? We should do. Have we done all-time starting five?
There's a Instagram account that's doing it. Okay. It's one that I follow. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but they've been doing it for every school. It's been really interesting.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, but LSU, you can stack up against anybody. Reason I chose 86, obviously I love the Dunking Tiger, the purple too, and then that striping on there. Whereas like the Shaq shorts that we'll get into are just plain colors, and then they throw the tiger on there.
Yeah,
this had a little bit more into it and a little more break in the action. You know, there's a heavy purple, which is dope, and then it goes into that yellow kind of piping going down or striping going down the side with some piping too. So, but. So the look of the short was dope, but then the story is good too.
Yeah.
So number 11 seed, they were like the Cinderella of all Cinderellas before George Mason came along, basically.
Yeah.
So it was cool. I wanted to dive in. I wanted to learn their story a little bit. So that was the 86 stuff.
You know, I had to get some stats on them too. Average years of experience for this team, 1.2 years. So not very long together. They're pretty young together, tied with the lowest seed ever. You mentioned that. The team had a lot in common with this year. They had a big outbreak of chicken pox on the team that forced the whole team to quarantine at one point. And they just had such a weird rash of like injuries and strangeness. They had like 3 7-footers at the beginning of the year. Didn't have any of them. They had another guy. This was I'd never heard of this before. He was ruled academically ineligible because he took too few credit hours in his major. So he had like enough credit hours, but I guess there was some rule that you had to have enough in your major area, and because he didn't have enough in that specific area, he was ineligible.
That's wild. Yeah. And then remember all the Prop 48 stuff and all that crap. Like people don't even remember that stuff anymore.
We're gonna get into that later. I got that as a note. Well,
I also remember the 87 team because I love, I've always professed my love for IU's 87 team as my all-time favorite. As you can see, there's a shirtless Steve Alford poster over there. But this LSU team, this 86 Final Four team, almost beats IU's 87 team.
Really? I did not know that.
Elite Eight. Nikita Wilson misses a fadeaway off the front of the rim at the buzzer, or in Cincinnati, or they go.
Man, that's a good call out.
And so like during that whole game, I always remember they talk like, can Dale Brown do it again? Because they were like a 10 seed or something. They were a low seed again.
Weird.
And so I remember that. So I don't know. I wanted to kind of go back in and dig in the 86, and then the 92 stuff is Shaq.
Well, hang on. I want to hear Brivogel. So we want to hear about some of the design behind this, because I do love, like you mentioned, the purple, and just there's something different about seeing the design on this one. So I'm curious, like, where do you start with these? Because when they come out, it looks, just like anything that's awesome. It comes out looking easy. Like you could have just slapped it together and it comes out like this.
I've been watching it for a couple of weeks. It all is very easy. It's the easiest shit in the world.
Easy money. Well, I mean, we get excited when we get to launch a new school that just has a colorway that isn't super common. So first and foremost, different. The purple and yellow gold is awesome. That's just going to stand out amongst all the other. There's a lot of navy
underrated color combination.
We got it a little bit with Washington, but Washington was a little bit more gold too.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, we start there. I go to the school's brand guidelines and just make sure I know what colors they use. And then we lucked out on this one. LSU had a really nice version of this Dunking Tiger logo that we use on these shorts. And then we just find as much old photography as we can of games and players on the internet, and I use that as reference to scale the stripe down the side and the size of the logo on the side, and we just zoom in tight and
do printouts, tape them on EJ.
I do.
I mean, it's underrated to make it look cool on a person too, because that's the whole point of it.
Well, yeah, because the sizing is the hardest part on the logos, and then with the pockets too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the pockets can cut into the design, which they don't on any of our LSU pairs.
Love it.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
And there's always the thing, and we're in 86. Their shorts are probably about 6 inches shorter than what we're using now.
God.
So
that's hilarious that you say that. 'Cause I know where he's going.
Or where
with
your
this.
shorts will be in 3 years. Who knows?
It's interesting.
yeah. Well, no, what were you thinking?
Well, it's interesting because we sit there and we just stare at these shorts and we're like, is that in the middle of the short or is that at the bottom of the short?
Yeah.
Because really it's just on the short.
Yeah, you're kind of having to make it up
during that time period.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Like even those Jordan 82 UNC shorts that everybody's familiar with.
Gosh, yeah.
The remakes of those are down by the cut. But if you look at like pictures of him,
they're like sitting on his hip,
I think it's probably more in the middle.
Yeah.
But if we were to do that in the middle, it would look off because the reprints and the reproductions of them since then have trained everybody to think that they're down at the bottom.
Well, just how you wear your shorts too.
And then what Matt does, which is like Matt's not near the hoops head that we are, right? He loves basketball and he's knowledgeable. He knows a lot of that stuff, but it's not like the staple of life like it is for us. He's a little bit. What I'm saying is he has a little more balance in his life than we do.
Noted.
It's funny to sit and watch him because we're very alike. We're very different in a lot of ways, but we're very alike in this way. We'll find like LSU, for instance, has. And he was saying this, and that's what maybe hit on it. LSU has that file in their vault licensing.
Yeah.
So we had access to that. But then when we find pictures of the actual shorts, there's these like slight variations. So today he's working on Pitt 96 shorts. There's a little spoiler for you. And he's working on those. And there's how many variations of the cat?
I've seen 4.
4 variations of this one logo that's on the side of their shorts that we're trying to get, right?
Yeah.
So then we sit there and we're like,
which one?
Pitt has okayed one of them, but we're like, but
what about this over here?
This guy was the one that was actually, and it's like one fingernail is different.
I was going to say, how detailed are you getting? Are you like looking at whisker placement?
Yes, very, as detailed as I can get. So
I love that.
Yeah, I take very much pride in making these things as authentic as the schools the data that we can get will allow possible. And so, to be honest, this tiger that's on these shorts is not the exact tiger that I would like to use. He's very close.
Yeah.
But there's just not good enough imagery and the logos aren't available. I just know that the main difference is this has a basketball hoop on it, whereas the one, if you look at the photos of the ones that they were wearing, that basketball hoop's not on there. And the photos of that one that they were wearing just don't exist that we have access to.
And so this is shit that like our customers or like you would never pick up on.
No.
You would never know. Like you're gonna see
I love
shorts,
it though. This is what,
and you're gonna be
what
like,
I like.
yeah. This is why I wanted to do this segment and why I wanted to have him on.
And we do the best we possibly can to get the shorts as authentic as we can, not minus materials, obviously, on our materials to make them, more of a comfortable, wearable short.
And being mindful of the school and what the school logos they want you to use and stuff like that.
doubt.
Like the short does not suffer because their logo was just a slightly different, tiger or whatever. But it's funny because we're working full time, so we're right next to each other. You can see our offices in there, and so we're backed up to each other every day. And I didn't really know that Matt was that detailed, coming into it. I mean, we had talked, but you have to remember we were all doing this on after hours. So after hours with young families too, that we were taking care of and other jobs. So until now, we just couldn't spend time talking about the small details. It would just go. Right. And now it's like I see him struggling, letting go of like a minute detail.
Like in the music studio building like a beat.
And then, eventually I'll have to.
You got to release it.
And I got to look over at Josh and be like, "Is this good?" And be like, "Yes, of course it's good." No one will even notice that. Move on, So,
which brings us back to the LSU shorts, which are dope.
They're good. They're real good.
They're so good.
All right, 92. Before we we do the 92, we're going to do a little break and listen to a clip from Shaq talking about Daddy Dale Brown, which I love. And then we'll get into that 92 team a little bit.
If there was one person, if God said, I need somebody to run the world, who? Be Dale Brown.
And last but not least, Daddy Dale Brown. My father came in the house one day and I was sitting on the couch, feet stinking, and he just came and threw the paper. Get your ass up, there's a college coach up there, you might get a scholarship. Come listen to him talk. I was 6'9", 6'10", couldn't play, definitely wasn't going to college. So I get up there, but before I go up there, I'm like, you know what, I'm talking to a college coach. Let me go in this dictionary and pull out a big word so I seem smart. So the word I chose was extremities. So Coach Brown is talking, and you know he gets done with the speech, and I go up to him. I say, Coach, hi, my name is Shaquille O'Neal, sir. Can you send me a program to strengthen my lower extremities? And Coach Brown looked at me and he said, sure, how long you been in the Army, soldier? I said, I'm not in the Army, I'm only 13. What? Where's your father? I was like, he's in the sauna. I want to offer you a scholarship right now. And he offered me a scholarship on that day. Coach, thank you.
Man, Shaq, great storyteller. I absolutely, and I'm regretting immediately one of Barnett's picks, first pick I think ever that you did in the best college. I know, underrated. He's just I've grown to appreciate Shaq even more since then.
Well, we went back and watched the 99 Classic with the LMU LSU, and we forgot how skinny and athletic and what a freak of nature that dude was.
Yep, he could have played. He would have adapted to today's game. Would have been amazing.
Yeah, no doubt.
So tell me about this 92 team then.
Well, yeah, so the 92 was a no-brainer because we had to capture Shaq. So, like, when I think of LSU, I think of Pistol Pete and I think of Shaq.
Yep.
And Chris Jackson, honestly. I think of Chris Jackson, too, and Dale Brown. Those are kind of the four for me. Bob Pettit's a long time before us, but I know he's probably a top 50 player of all time.
Definitely.
So I wanted to just be able to capture them. One of the things that we try to do here is tell the stories and capture the best stories from each school to tell. But Shaq in and of himself is the story. Mm-hmm. So like when I go and I write those hardwood history blurbs for our website and our product,
right,
that thing just morphed into this Shaq. Here was his career at LSU. Like, you know what I mean? So it wasn't because the team got beat by our beloved Indiana Hoosiers. I feel like a lot of so I feel like
there's a lot of intersections, right?
I know.
Yeah.
And it was the Dale Brown, Bob Knight rivalry.
Yep.
That's why they don't like each other.
I believe it.
Every time that they played each other, it was high stakes.
Yeah.
There was a lot on the line. Which is super interesting that they intersected that often. But we had to capture Shaq. And then in that you capture Chris Jackson too.
I've got some stuff about him, but I want to hear what your take is about him because his freshman season especially, like that SI article that you guys had down here. So this is one of the things I love about coming down here is that you guys all have all this like source material that Bri Vogel, and
we have a hard time hanging shit on our walls.
Yeah,
so.
I know. Are you working with him like when you guys are looking stuff up to have for these photo shoots, or what are you guys doing like looking stuff up? A little bit. Because I love that. So I looked through that. All right, here's what I got on Jackson. I'm gonna steal it.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can come back.
No, go ahead.
So I love the Louisiana Prop 48. They called them the team in general. Too young, too short, too Prop 48. Which, man, again, little
slightly racist.
Yep.
Honestly, well, that was the whole problem with the Prop 48 rule was they were basically saying like this is holding young black African American males down.
Even got a stat on that for you. Prop 48, 86.8% black.
Right. Which some of that is the sport that you're playing in, too, in the type
not
of
just
player that is coming in. Yeah, the skillful players and stuff. But like Big Dog was a Prop 48. People forget that.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was doing helping kids out.
It didn't make any sense.
Right.
And luckily they did away with it.
Yeah.
Like it was bullshit, basically.
But Alonzo Mourning calls Chris Jackson. He says, I never knew which way he was going. He's the best shooter in the country. pretty solid praise there. Dale Brown had an awesome quote. He said at the end of that Georgetown game, which they won against Morning, he said, "I wanted Chris to take the last shot. He gets trapped, but Brown continues. I knew he'd get out of the trap. They locked up Houdini, and he got out and did his dance. He skates, he evaporates. It's like Shazam."
Oh, Shaq is
Shazam. I know.
later
Did he get
on.
that from Dale Brown?
Man, that is funny. Yeah, slippery, man.
There was one more in there. They called him the evolutionary Pete Maravich. Not real sure, but I like the connection.
Well, that was the SI cover.
And then there's a story in there about a girl that called the New Orleans hotline. A little girl said she was running away from home to watch him play, and they told her that if she went back home, he'd hit a game winner for her. He did the next game. So she
so that right there is the Pistol Pete side of it.
Right.
That's like those old like
Hot
fables,
shot.
those
I
old
know,
like legends
crazy, right?
of that we don't have that shit anymore.
He
man.
had some weird, too, just personal stuff that he overcame. Estranged from his mom, she didn't want him to go to LSU. He really wanted to, and she pushed him towards other schools, even like calling some other schools and saying that he was going to go there. And
interesting. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, and then he's got the Tourette syndrome that he overcame,
and then converts to Islam.
Yeah.
And what's interesting in today's world and all the Colin Kaepernick stuff, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf doesn't get brought up that much. I've seen a couple things on him on social media when they've been talking about the stand and people kneeling for the anthem and stuff. And I remember that. Like I was growing up, I remember that being a really big deal, and that was like a really big news story.
Well, his thing is he would sit and pray, right?
Yep. He would sit and pray, or he'd face the other direction too. I'm not sure if he sat, but he would face the
Sometimes
other direction and pray. Yeah. So like, and that's in 90.
I don't even know.
94.
I know, long time ago.
That's a long time ago, and that's a different America too.
Yep.
So
his career for sure was cut short. Like he would fit in today's NBA real well.
He's balling in the big three.
I've seen
him in the big. He's an old ass man out there just giving people
50 some, right?
Dude, giving buckets out there.
Shoot.
And what's crazy too is it seems like the Tourette's or whatever is way more controlled.
Yeah.
In that big three, like I don't know, like
maybe better
it's
medication
funny because of the medication, exactly, and the evolution and the technology and stuff that goes into that.
Yeah.
So
So
covering all bases.
Question 2 about this. This is for both.